This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
The views expressed by guests on this program do not necessarily represent the views of the host or owners of the Doggy Diva show and do not necessarily constitute endorsement of products. Medical information discussed by guests on this program are those of the guests and is only for informational purposes and should not replace medical advice by your local veterinarian professional.
Hi, this is Susan Marie from the Doggy Diva show. This week, celebrating National Dress Up Your Pet Day, custom-made dog meal deliveries, and the latest from the Queen of Cozy Mysteries. That's what's on our show this week. Let's get started.
Hey, did you hear that? What is that? It's the bark heard round the world. The Doggy Diva show. Here's national award-winning author and animal advocate, Susan Marie.
Hi, welcome to the Doggy Diva show, the show for animal lovers. I'm your host, Susan Marie, and as always, I'm joined by my canine co-hosts, the Doggy Divas themselves, Francesca, Coco, and our newest little diva, Miss Olive. Miss Olive is the cute little Italian Greyhound rescue in the picture with the microphone. Thank you for joining us today as we bring the experts in the pet and animal world right to you. Email us at doggydivashow@aol.com. That's DOGGYDIVA show@aol.com. We love hearing from you. So go grab a cup of coffee and your pet's favorite treat, and we'll be back in just a moment.
DINOVITE.com.
When we put him on the Dinovite, he took right to it. All of these symptoms disappeared.
Dinovite is nutrition.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Something that he actually likes to eat. You need to put him on Dinovite.
Dinovite for life.
If you love your dog, you don't just want him healthy, you want him to be happy.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Doggy Diva show. I'm here with Monica Leighton, president of Professional Pet Sitting, and with our pet tip of the week. And Monica, one of my favorite holidays is coming up, National Dress Up Your Pet Day. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, it is a very fun, and they have national days for everything, it seems. And when I saw National Dress Up Your Pet Day was coming up, you have to celebrate that with a brand new cute outfit, every year. They have to be very stylish. But a couple tips to keep your pet happy during National Dress Up Your Pet Day is, one, making sure your pet is happy being dressed up. Not all pets are. Some pets are very comfortable, being themselves than not being in anything. And if you want to take your pet somewhere and maybe they're not comfortable, in actual clothes, maybe a bandana, a cute collar with a collar bow, something of that nature. And for our friends that do feel comfortable being dressed up, always make sure that it's something that will not impede with their leash or their harness. Make sure that it's something they can walk easily in. So whenever you go and get, whenever I go and get my pets, little shirts or little vests or jackets, I always check and see how the design is. How are we going to put it on and put it off? Is it something that I have to pull their arms through? Are they going to enjoy that? Is it something that I can Velcro on easily or zipper easily? Is it going to get caught in their hair? With their little young, long-haired Yorkies, my small one, Daisy, who's only 5 pounds, she loves going anywhere. She's very easygoing. But in certain things, like especially when it's cold outside, she gets cold really fast. But she's got the longer, hair on the bottom. And so you have to watch, putting sweaters on her because the hair can sometimes get caught in the Velcro and that can hurt them and kind of pull. Also, a lot of the shirts and little jackets that you can put on them can also serve as an anxiety relief. They have the thunder shirts, which have, the pressure points and things like that in there. But a lot of pets just feel more comfortable with that extra layer of warmth, of jacket, of comfort. So when your pet's a little anxious, even putting them in a little jacket, sometimes even at home, can help calm them down a little bit. Giving them a blanket, giving them a jacket. You'd be amazed how sometimes, that little bit of extra can relieve that anxiety. And just, kind of watch going to the bathroom. And this is another big thing, making sure the fit is right, making sure it's not too long, to where, if they have to go to the bathroom, you don't have to be taking stuff off every time. Just really, check and see how it's made. And that way, they can enjoy themselves. They can get around easily. They can do everything they need to do and still look extremely fashionable in the process.
Well, thank you very much. And I love to dress my dogs up. I do have one of those that you're talking about who does not like to dress up. And we just put a bandana or leave her totally nude. We call her the nudist, Coco. But my other two, Franny and Olive, love to dress up. So I take full advantage of this day. And I hope that you all will too. It's a fun day and it's on January 14th. And it's National Dress Up Your Dog Day. So thank you very much, Monica.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Hello, everyone. Miss Olive and Sophia the Doggy Diva want to thank you for your amazing response to their special book, Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home. And they want to let you know that Miss Olive Finds Her Forever Home is now available in both hardcover and softcover. And that's at Amazon.com. As Miss Olive says, woohoo, yippee! Thank you, everyone. Coming up, homemade food for your dog delivered right to your door. Stay tuned.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Doggy Diva Show. Clean kibble plus fresh baked human grade food equals New Road Foods. Today we have with us the co-founder of New Road Foods, Katie Smith. Welcome to the Doggy Diva Show, Katie.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Well, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and about what you do at New Road Foods?
My dad and I own New Road Foods together, and my dad has a long history in the pet food business. So we have a lot of expertise when it comes to product development and nutrition, and we decided to start a new kind of company about 5 years ago. And kind of our mission was to source the cleanest ingredients we could and to make a food that was fresh, fresh baked, which had never really been done in the industry before. So we kind of had to start at the very beginning and build a whole new supply chain and operating model, and kind of out of that was born New Road Foods.
Was there like some sort of an inspiration or anything for you to develop this?
We always knew that we wanted to start a business together, and we kind of just started at the beginning, and we were like, what would be if we could make the best dog food available? What would it look like? And, we kind of had to push past what we could do from a manufacturing standpoint and ingredient standpoint, distribution standpoint, and we just kind of started from scratch and said, what would it look like if we could make the best product with the highest standards? And that's kind of how it began.
Can you tell us about New Road Foods, like the clean kibble, the human grade food, and also how does it benefit our dogs?
Sure. So we are the only kibble on the market that is human grade. And what human grade means is that our ingredients and processes and distribution system, out of that comes a food that is as clean and safe as the food you would feed your family. And what that really comes down to is a lot of it comes down to the animal protein. So all of the foods we use, or all of the animal proteins we use, are USDA certified, meaning they are clean and safe enough to feed your families. And then the process we use is, it's actually kind of innovative. It's we form our foods on a pasta maker, and then we gently bake them. So it's a radically different process than what you would find in a pet food factory. And then we also bake them to order. So we don't make anything until we have a new customer or we know that an existing customer is ready for a fresh batch of food. So we don't hold inventory. We don't let product go stale. We make it and ship it out the very same day. And the freshness is, the benefit of the freshness for us is it's more nutritious, but for the dogs, it's actually a way more palatable product. Fresh food inherently tastes better, so the dogs enjoy it more. And for the pet parents, knowing that you're feeding a food that is clean and safe as the food you feed your family, we know that it gives people a peace of mind, and they can trust what we've developed for their dogs.
Wow. And obviously the freshness and everything and the way that you make it has to be almost like custom ordered. What are the benefits of the subscription-based ordering that you have?
So the biggest benefit is that once you place your order, we make it specifically for your dog. We ship it out that day. You don't have to worry about going to the store. You don't have to worry about, seeing how much your dog's eating. We take care of all of that on our end. So it just ends up at your door exactly when your dog is ready for a fresh batch of food. And we also kind of take you through a process and suggest a customized amount for your dog. So you never have too much, you never have too little. It's a customized program for your dog.
Wow. And it's also very easy because it comes right to the door. What more could a pet parent want? So, Katie, where can the listeners go to learn more about New Road Foods and how to start their subscription, get the food custom made?
So we sell everything directly to our customers. So you would want to go to newroadfoods.com. That's NEWROADFOODS.com. And you can also, and when you get there, we'll kind of take you through a process where we see which recipe is best for your dog, what the order quantity is best for your dog, and you can always adjust at any time. And then you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at New Road Foods.
Before we go, Katie, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yes, actually, if you use the code 50NEW, we're doing a promotion right now. If you use the code 50NEW, it will give you 50% off your first order or a trial pack. And our trial packs are a great way to get familiar with our foods. You can order 1 pound of our recipe along with our protein chips, which are a low-calorie, limited-ingredient snack. And if you use that code, you'll get 50% off both of those products.
Oh, that sounds great. So, again, listeners go to newroadfoods.com. And Katie, I want to thank you so much for being our guest today. And I also want to thank you and your dad, actually, for helping us pet parents to keep our pets healthy through custom and convenient nutrition. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. We'll be back in just a moment. Coming up, the latest book releases from the Queen of Cozy Mysteries. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, Michelle Fern here. You know how they say you are what you eat? Well, guess what? Same is true for your fur babe. I have a grandpa dog, as I call him. Mr. Z's now 14. And over the years, he's had his issues, but lately he's had a lot of allergies. And I've recently put him on a solid gold diet, and I have noticed a major difference. And right now, Solid Gold is offering an amazing offer to all of our listeners. Yep, by visiting solidgoldpet.com/petlife for 30% off your first order. Go ahead and take advantage of this great offer.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Doggy Diva Show. Dianne Harman is an award-winning, best-selling author of cozy mysteries about dogs, intrigue, yummy food, and recipes. Today, she's here to share with us her recent cozy mystery where you might want to ask yourself if you ever wished you had $25,000 to play poker with. And she's here to talk about another thing, which I'm so excited about. It's a book full of yummy recipes that are in the back of all her cozies. So today we want to welcome whom I very often refer to as the Queen of Cozy Mysteries, Dianne Harman. Hey, Dianne, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you so much. And I love the moniker, the Queen of Cozy Mysteries. That's great.
I love it. And I always say that. I mean, you are. Right?
Well, thank you. I don't know about that, but thank you very much.
No, I'm sure if you checked out everybody's Kindles or in some of their hard copies, your name would ding, 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 ding. So that's...
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I want to thank you for kind of spawning the Murder and High Rollers with Miss Ollie, your dog. And you had sent me the book that you wrote about, I don't know, a year and a half or so ago, and it kind of stayed in the back of my mind. And then when my husband and I visited the gambling casino, and I thought, wouldn't it be, and I saw this room for high rollers and thought, who plays there? Who does this? So then I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we brought Miss Ollie then and she could do some sleuthing a bit or identification?
And she
so
did
it was fun.
Really, she did so good. And that's one of the things I want to ask you, because in your books, and one of the things I love about your books is that you always have dogs and they're actually characters. It's not just like someone talking about a dog. Your dogs are actually characters in your books, and they play, an actual function in the book. And, I just was wondering where you ever came up with having the pups. And of course, I'm so happy Olive was with, her, Guy Patron. And also there was Miss Simone. So I just was wondering, where did you get the inspiration that you would incorporate dogs into your books? I love it.
I wish I could give you a succinct answer on it, and I can't. I had written a couple of suspense books, and they did well critically, but not financially. And about that time, someone said, why don't you try a Cozy Mysteries? Because your books always have food in them. And I was unfamiliar with what a cozy mystery was, so I read a couple and thought, I could do that. And I love dogs. We are just dog people, our whole family. And I thought, what if two of my favorite things, at that time we had 3 dogs, if I put dogs and recipes and food and then do the rest of the cozy mystery. And it just kind of happened. And then the more I wrote, the more interested I got in having different breeds in different books, so it wouldn't just be my dog in the book all the time. And that's how it happened. And Miss Olive spoke to me, so I had to put her in.
Well, and coming to that, I mean, I ordered the hard copy because, of course, Olive's on the cover, and she plays such a key component in the book. It was so thrilling for us, and I'm giving it out as people are going, you have to give me the book, you have to give me the book, because the book's so good. But I kind of teased at the beginning, if you ever had $25,000, how would you bet on that in a poker hand? But sometimes it could be a little deadly. So
I think it'd be frightening.
I would. So could you just tell the listeners a little bit about Murder and High Rollers? And for those of you that are familiar with Dianne's work, you know that she has a fabulous group of cozy series, and this is from the High Desert Cozy series. So could you just tell the listeners a little bit about this book, because it was really great. I learned a lot, by the way, about gambling.
Well, I did too when I wrote it, and I am not a real gambler. I love to do a little bit here and there and play, but I'm strictly, once I lose $5, I'm panic. So we're not talking high stakes here. But when my husband and I were at Pechanga, it's a Native American resort with golf and a huge casino, one of the largest I've ever seen. And we happened to walk by the high rollers, a room that was just limited to high rollers. And I kept thinking, who plays that? Who has that kind of money? And one thing led to another. And then I thought, well, if somebody was winning and they were really intelligent or they had some type of a brain, just kind of like a computer brain, and they weren't cheating, wouldn't that be interesting? But would people want to kill them? So it kind of went that way, and then I put Miss Olive in because I think she is very important in solving the mystery of who the murderer was, and yet it seemed to be very realistic that, you know, a small dog would fit in a purse.
As
and
she does.
It kind of came about as she does. And I have never had a dog that small that as I'm getting older, I'm certainly thinking about it. These big ones are a little much, but that's where it came about. And the high desert Palm Springs area, they do have some big casinos there. And I can see where people would come to Palm Springs or a resort like that to do nothing but gamble. And I do understand that the casinos highlight people or have profiles on people who are winning too much, and they don't want them there.
Well, and you know what was interesting too is the way, like, some of them go from, because this is their profession, and they go from casino to casino to casino. I mean, that was really interesting to learn because I only do the little slot machines whenever we go. I couldn't even fathom. This was like so interesting. And like I said, I learned a lot about it because I wasn't even aware of it. And I think that helped to make it even more fascinating. And the way you incorporated Olive's, gifts, it was really great. I mean, it was one, not only because Miss Olive's, you know, mine, but because of the way she was portrayed in the book. She was like such a key component to the whole thing. It was really great, and the way you incorporated that was very, very good, very interesting. Now, also, I want to tell you, when I found out you were doing this, and when you told me the series, the High Desert series that we were going to be in, I love Marty. I love Detective Jeff. I love that whole gang and that whole, you know, the way they cook. It's like a little compound and the twinkle lights. And I always feel like I want to be there. So the fact that Olive and I were incorporated into that group of people, I was thrilled. Though I love all the other ones. This one, I love the way that you set up this compound almost that they live in. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that people always say, you know, are you in your books? No, I'm not. But you cannot help but incorporate certain things in if you're reading, you know, writing contemporary fiction. And the compound came about. My husband had an uncle who was an artist who lived in the high desert in a compound of artists. And there were 4 homes that ringed this courtyard. And we went to visit him twice, and it was just the most magical place. I mean, that was many years ago, and it stayed in my mind. And that became the area where kind of everything happens, the main hub, if you will, of all the books in the series. And then Marty, certainly I'm not Marty, but I was an antique and art appraiser.
I know.
And that also kind of stemmed, and, you know, I know that world, so that comes in for when she's appraising things. And there are a lot of Native American artifacts in the desert, and that is often how people decorate their homes because it's kind of a desert look. Well, so that's where it all kind of stemmed.
For the listeners who may not have heard us talk in the past, you could just like briefly go over what your background is before you became this best-selling author. I mean, people probably think you've been doing it your whole life, but you had a whole different series of careers before this.
I was. And people have asked, gee, don't you wish you'd started, 30 years ago? No, I don't, because the books often reflect life experiences I've had. I was an antique and art appraiser and became a bit disenchanted with how people absolutely, they define themselves by how much money their furnishings and things were worth. Which, after a while, I thought, that's not real. So then I completely went a different path and opened 2 yoga studios, which is kind of really going from one to another. But and after about that time, my husband became involved in politics and actually was elected to the Senate in California politics. up in Sacramento, and when he would have all of these different brochures and everything on him coming out, I lived in fear that there would be one of me standing on my head or something. So I thought I'd better get out of that profession and became a political wife, and we did a lot of entertaining. So I've mentioned to you before that the recipes in my books, these come from things that I have personally, the recipes I have used and that are part of my collection. I don't just pick one, here and there. These are all not Harman recipes per se that I developed them, but I certainly have made them my own. And then I thought, well, what would happen when he retired if I wrote a book? And that's where I am now, a few years later.
And look at how many you've written. I mean, I think that I probably have every one of them. And I want to touch on something real quick while we're talking about the, the recipes. The recipes that are in the back of your book, I always love. And it's interesting because while you're reading the book, they're making these actual meals, especially in this high desert one. Oh my gosh, those guys are great. But there's always these meals or desserts or something that's incorporated into the story, and you have them all in the back of your book, which is great for us readers. And we talked about it a while ago. I said, you should put all of these things together in a cookbook. And I know it's something you thought about for a long time. So lo and behold, for Christmas, what did I get but a cozy cookbook? My husband bought it, and he's like, he put little things, I want you to make this, let's make that, let's do this. And it's full of just yummy, yummy recipes. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I love to cook, and so therefore the recipes that the people eat a meal during the book or in the back of the book. The Cozy Cookbook, this is volume 1 because I have 5 recipes in my Cozy Mysteries per book. Mm-hmm. And I've written about, 50 or 60 Cozy Mysteries, so that's a lot of recipes. Yeah. And this is just the first volume, and I decided to do it pretty much sequentially. The next cookbook will be the next books that I wrote, etc. And people have said that often they read the books just for the food. And I've had readers that have been angry if I've mentioned some dish and haven't put the recipe in the back. So I've learned to kind of highlight which ones and not do a lot with ones that I'm not going to feature in the back of the book.
I know, they're like me. They're like, oh, that sounds so good. I got to make it.
Exactly. And I've learned that sweets are very, very important. Desserts or cookies or whatever. That seems to be side dishes, salads, not so much.
And you describe them very well in the book, so it kind of makes you want to make it and eat it. So you did a great book. And I just want everyone to know, again, that's called The Cozy Cookbook by Dianne Harman, and that's volume 1. And I have to talk about something else because actually there's a few things I want to get in. You know how much I love Holly Lewis, and I'm a Nancy Drew girl from 1,000 years ago. And when I started to read Holly Lewis, it made me go back to my Nancy Drew years. And you just had a recent one come out, Holly and the Oracle, which I found totally fascinating. Again, I always learn things when I read your book because you incorporate.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you incorporate situations and even social situations that maybe the reader's not familiar with or knows a little bit about, but you go in and you explain it. I kind of try to figure out. I always feel I get a good feeling on who it might be, or I had no clue in this one.
Good.
This one took me totally out, and so can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Holly has become one of my favorite characters. I know an author is not supposed to ever say that, but I just really like her.
I do too.
She just incorporates so much. And like you, I was a Nancy Drew absolute person. But the Oracle kind of fascinated me because a couple of years ago, a friend of mine married a man who had 2 children, one of whom had gotten caught up in a cult. And they had to do a kind of an intervention with cults and everything. And I became fascinated by how this happened. And Levi in the book, who becomes involved in the cult, was very much this young man in my mind. I don't know the young man, but it's kind of what I pictured from what his stepmother had said and how he got caught up in this. And I can see how it could happen and how dangerous it can become when someone puts their time, money, and their whole belief system into something like this.
Well, and you described it, and you know, even Levi's, I'll call it naivety, going into this, and Holly, you know, even though she's a young girl, it was like the difference between the two. She looked at it one way, he looked at it another way, and sort of how it all got incorporated. The whole town. It was very interesting, and it also kind of gave the readers an insight into the way this could happen. So I
think it. I know it does happen, and I can see how it could, and I can see how someone could become the oracle, if you will.
Yeah.
If someone is very, I mean, we've all seen this. What was the thing years ago? Drinking the Kool-Aid, Jimmy something. I forget his name.
Jim Jones, I think it was.
That was it. That was it. And people were just amazed. And we read of these from time to time that there are cults out there that very charismatic people generally are leading them. And they're extremely good with words, and they're telling people what people want to hear. And I think it's very realistic. I mean, it's out there.
No, you did a great job portraying that. And I also want to talk about one other thing, and it's totally new. Was that the 5th book in the Holly series? That was the 5th.
I believe so.
Yeah, the 5th book. And now you have a new series, which I've already got it preloaded to when it comes out, which I find very interesting and fascinating, which is the Miranda Riley.
Miranda Riley.
Yes.
This was something that, you know, as I said, things happen in life. My daughter-in-law is a reader, and one time we were talking about books, and she mentioned something. I said, I don't like that genre. It was paranormal. And it had vampires, and I thought, that is just not me. She said, try it. She said, it's nothing, you know, like you're talking about with some vampire with a, you know, trying to put his teeth in a white neck of a woman or something, which you always see on the covers. Yeah. So she recommended a couple to me. I've forgotten their names, and I thought, well, this is kind of interesting because they were nothing like that. And I thought, well, I kind of like to write that. And so in my newsletter, I said, is this something that interests people or whatever? And the response was amazing, that I had hundreds of readers say, yes, I read that. I love it. But it was interesting that one reader said, I'm glad you're going to do this, but let me tell you what I hate. And in this genre, and she wrote a full page of things that she did not like about when people wrote it. And I thought, well, that's interesting. One of which she said was that so many authors think that it's so easy to say because it's paranormal that the bookcase spoke to them and solves the mystery. And she says, that's not, you know, there's got to be some realistic. But I thought that was kind of an interesting statement. And since then, I have read a couple where you're going, yeah, paranormal, yes, but that's beyond.
Yeah, no, I like the concept of the way you're doing it, and it's something that's it's not that the bookcase is talking, or even that there's a vampire or space aliens coming out of the sky. It seems like it's a very natural, intuitive way of doing it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this when it comes out.
Thank you. It's a young woman whose mother goes missing, and she's called by the chief of police to go back to her small little town. But the interesting thing is PI, private investigator. On this one, it's a paranormal.
I know, I love that.
And so, you know, kind of a play on words in that, and how she finds out there is another, you know, world out there of things that are rather unexplainable, which I think each of us, if we're very honest, that there are some things that have happened to us that you can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just beyond exponent. What is it? There are more things in heaven and earth than we can, you know, that type of thing. And so that was the premise from it, and I knew that I'd not written in that, so I got in touch with a woman that I've dealt with who has written in that genre, and she says when she was a kid, she grew up on those books. That's what her mother read. And she said, Dianne, it's nothing like you may have thought it was. And so she is the one, I put her name on the book, and I went under a pen name on this book, although it's very, D. Harman instead of Dianne Harman. It wasn't a real leap of faith there. But since I'm in a totally different genre, it's a paranormal cozy mystery, but certainly I'm not known for paranormal, so I put that in there. And I put her name on the book because her advice has been very important to me.
Well, and I find it to be interesting, and I tend to enjoy books that maybe it does step out of the norm. Sometimes there's animals that are psychic. Sometimes there's like all different kinds of things, but it all comes together and it kind of adds to the intrigue and the mystery. And
but one of the things that has always interested me is dogs, getting back to them, one of my favorite subjects. They have an innate sense when someone is a good person or not a good person, for want of a better word. And I have seen our dogs just shy away from some people or just immediately lick and love other people. And that's beneath our, overt senses. There's something else going on there. And I thought, well, let's explore it. Let's see. Certainly like Miss Olive in Murder and High Rollers, she had a sense.
She does, and in reality, she kind of does. I mean, she's like she's 8.5 pounds of terror when she's protecting me. I mean, she has no teeth. She only has 3 legs, but I'll tell you what, she is, if anyone that she senses isn't good comes towards me, I can always tell she's in her little carrier, and she'll kind of stiffen up and growl a little bit. So it's, for those of you that are going to read the book, you're going to absolutely love it. It's called Murder and High Rollers. And Dianne, where can the listeners go to learn more about you, all your cozy mysteries, your cozy cookbook?
If you go to Dianne Harman, just on Amazon, I have an Amazon page there that tells about me and lists all of my books. Also, a website, www.Dianne, Dianne, Harman, HARMAN.com, and they can check that out as well. I'm sitting in my office here looking at gifts my husband has given me, and from the first year that I started writing Cozy Mysteries, he and my daughter and son-in-law put together a collage of all my books and framed them for me.
It must be a pretty big collage.
So we're running out of space here.
No, but they're all so good, and each one's different. So even though they're in a series, each thing's different that you write about. And again, I always say, number one, I want to thank you for being our guest. And I also want to thank you for you write about socially relevant things in your books. And also it's fun, mysterious, and you have those yummy recipes. And it's always got dogs in it. So what more could a reader ask for? And I also want to thank you on behalf of Miss Olive, as having her be a character in Murder and High Rollers and actually being a very relevant and key character. And she is so honored. She has selected Murder and High Rollers as one of her favorite things for the January issue of Suncoast magazine.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you. And I was honored to have Miss Olive on the cover. And for all of your listeners, I've received so many emails from people who think the dog is just adorable. So it was a good decision.
Thank you so much.
So please thank Miss Olive.
She's sitting right here. She knows it's all about her. She's so happy. And I've got the book right in front of me. She's looking at herself going, yep, that's me.
How cute.
I'm cute. And I'm smart and I solved it. But thank you again so much, Dianne. And we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, and tell Miss Olive hi.
I will. Thank you. We'll be back in just a moment.
Begging to hear more of your favorite show? Full episodes of all our shows are available on demand. Go to PetLifeRadio.com to fetch our entire lineup of Possum Pet podcasts. Also, dig us up in iHeartRadio and iTunes. Let's talk pets. Live and on demand, only from Pet Life Radio.
We would like to thank our guests this week. And also, as our Doggy Divas always say, please love your pets because they love you unconditionally. And please remember to adopt, foster, spay, neuter, and microchip. And as always, please have a great Diva week, everyone.
That's all for this episode of The Doggy Diva Show. To find out more, go to our website, thedoggydiva.com. Also, find us on our Facebook page, The Doggy Diva Show, and tell your fellow dog lovers about it. Don't miss Susan Marie, Miss Olive, and the Doggy Divas right here for the next episode. See you again soon.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.